Hello, hello. How's it going? Mark here, Mark Atwood Show. Adventures in a cosmic suit. How are we going? Dave Johnson, hello from Thailand. Brilliant. I was talking about going to Thailand about 20 minutes ago. Breakfast Club, wakey wakey. Hi from Nottingham. I used to support Nottingham Forest in the 70s, but then I found out something quite dodgy about Brian Clough, which I'm not going to mention here. Anyway, busy day in London, isn't it? Who's in London? Hi from Melbourne, Louise. Hello again, Louise. Beverly Luby. Hello, Mark. So glad I'm on time. Me too. Just about. Maggie C, Melbourne again. Hi, Melbourne. Margaret Kozi Kawasaki. Sorry, Margaret, I got that wrong. Canada, good. How is the open air prison of Canada? Who else have we got? That uptight Buddha, never dull in Hull. Love you from here, Mark. I love Hull. I think it was Hull. I played Bob in Rita Sue and Bob too. And there was a scene which I did at the Edinburgh Festival, which is where I had to get my bum out and pretend to have sex with two girls in a car. And in Edinburgh, everybody was taking notes very studiously. In Hull, they laughed so much, I was pumping for about 10 minutes. I was dripping wet with sweat. It was the best workout I ever had. Shows the difference between a Hull audience and an Edinburgh audience. Bobby Frenton, hello from Florida. Come to Florida soon, Bobby. Hope you'll be there. Guys, loads of you here. 152. Brilliant. So there's something very big going on in London right now. And I'd like to start the show by sharing a little message with all those people at that funeral. Here we go.
We see you. The scales have fallen from our eyes. The veil has drifted down from the sky, meandering firmly, finally revealing your depth of depravity. That's fear you're now feeling. We see you. Your demonic bloodlust laid bare to see, the statue of filth on the BBC, the prince and the madam, the crisper spy, the islands of horrors in the ocean lie. We see you. A billion souls stolen over the years. You hid them deep down to drown their tears. Perfect and innocent, God's own creations, mutilated by your sick machinations. We see you. Vlad the Impaler and his vile descendants, fleeing the palace from the 5D ascendants. The virus distracted, but gave us the time to peel back the layers of your heinous crimes. We see you. Run, run as fast as you can, back for more orders from the Phoenician clan. Out of White Rabbit, the looking glass cracked. Tipping point reached, odds against you now stacked. We see you. Pizza and hot dogs, pasta and sauce. Your sickness decoded your lack of remorse. Our slumber is over, our eyes not wide shut. For the children of Haiti, a knife to your gut. We see you. Ascension is powered by the light of the flare. Scramble like rats to the ruins of your lairs. It's over, it's over. Save our children, we cry. Revealed, reviled. It's your soul's time to die. We see you.
I thought that was apt. What do you think? It's very interesting, isn't it? You've got all these leaders there, all these reptiles in the pit, all at the same time. But I don't think anything's going to happen today. It'd be too obvious, really, wouldn't it? And I don't think any of them are the real versions of them anyway. So it's all part of the movie as far as I'm concerned. Let's get on my guest, Nikita Stark. Hello.
Hey.
Angela Chamberlain. Hello, Angela.
Hi.
First time on the show.
I love
Yes.
that we see you is just amazing. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I just love it. It's so good. It's so poignant.
Thank you. It's God, it's nearly 2 years since I wrote that, but it's, you know, what made me think of it was there was this picture of Her Royal Majesty, the reptilian queen, up on the side of the BBC, right on that paedophile statue that I referenced in the poem. I put it on my Telegram channel last night or this morning. And I think that's very interesting. Somebody said in the chat, we're looking for comms today in this funeral. Lots of comms going on at the moment. Lots of messages and symbols and things like that. And I thought that was very, very interesting because there she was, displayed right on the wall of the BBC where that statue is. Kind of says it all, doesn't it?
It's interesting. It's something I haven't really. I don't know. It's a rabbit hole that I've glanced at, but I haven't really gone down.
Yeah, I've been down it for about 10 years, that one. Yeah. What do you think, Angela?
I think that considering you wrote that poem 2 years ago, it's very poignant, especially today. Obviously, it was relevant then, but it's probably even more relevant now with everything that's been going on and more people becoming aware of the situation. I think it's very poignant.
Yeah, I think a lot more people know this stuff now than did 2 years ago.
I'm almost reluctant to talk about this because you're not allowed to. I mean, at schools, you're not allowed to mention it. Where my husband teaches, he said that you're not allowed to. Oh no, gigs. He was doing gigs, and they said you're not allowed to mention.
Don't mention the war. I mean, the censorship is everywhere. I mean, you know, I remember I was a stand-up for years and left it all alone to go and have kids and stuff and travel the world. And then when I think it was about 2016, 2017, there's a really good comedian called Alistair. Can't remember his surname now. Blonde-haired guy, good-looking young guy. And he got banned from comedy clubs all over the country just because of his stance on Brexit. Because he thought Brexit was a good idea, but you weren't allowed to say it. So, you know, the censorship's not just online. It is in the schools. It's in the hospitals. I mean, when I went to get my son out of hospital here a couple of months ago, the security guard was trying to make me wear one of these. And I said, I'm not wearing one of those. Why are you wearing one, you fucking idiot? You know, it's not going to stop anything. And then he said, well, you're entitled to your opinion. I mean, it's not an opinion. It's a fact. It says it on the packet. It's like David Icke calls it a post-truth world that we live in. But I do think we're watching a movie playing out. What do you think to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's surreal. It's actually made people. Do you remember a few years ago, Ricky Gervais? He tweeted something about now it would be considered anti-trans or something like that. He mentioned it in his new stand-up. He said, "Who would have thought that 10 years ago, going fast forward, you'd get in trouble for saying women don't have cocks?"
Yeah. I saw that.
And I'm thinking, Jesus, that's such a good point. But
Well,
I mean, in me and Angela's world as well, we can't say anything like that. Well, we can, and that's the point. You can say whatever you like, but now you've got this cancel culture. You're not allowed to talk about anything. And I think it's one extreme or the other. No one seems to be able to have like a nice happy medium. So I'm all like, if people want to identify as whatever they want, that's cool. But to try and change the language of a people based on a minority, what?
It's called The Tail That Wags the Dog.
Yeah, and it's okay to have difference of opinion. I think that's what everybody's forgotten. Yeah. It's fine if you like one thing and I like something else. We can still be friends. We can still get on. For some reason now, everybody seems to have to follow exactly the same narrative, otherwise they're wrong, and that's ridiculous. You know, the beauty of the human race is that we're all so varied and different, and people are forgetting that quickly and not accepting differences, and you know, accepting people can have a difference of opinion and we can all still live side by side and get on happily, whereas there's so much pressure to cause controversy within people and create that divide constantly all the time. And if you don't believe this, then you're anti this, and it's ridiculous.
But don't you think that's by design?
Yeah,
the way I look at it, like if you really strip it down to its grassroots, it's not about external beliefs, etc., etc. It's no surprise that what happened in 2020 happened because we were vibrating on a level of fear. And if the collective consciousness is that of fear, of course we're going to get stuff like this happen. Because what people don't realize is like, okay, I went to a freedom event recently, but it seemed like kind of counterintuitive. So they're, on one hand, they're saying you've got to be empathetic and not judge. But then in the next breath, they're judging people that they don't like. I'm like, that's not the point. The point is you can have your opinion, but their views were so packed full of hate. And I thought that's exactly what you're trying to get away from. So the way you change things is you higher your vibrations. It's very difficult not to judge sometimes, especially when people say things which can really trigger you. But I always think if something's triggered me, I'm like, well, I'm holding a mirror in front of me. Something is being triggered in me. But
well, I've called this spiritual quarantine for the last 2 years, 2.5 years nearly. And we've all had to go through this process. So in 2020, we were going to protests. 2021, I think we went a bit more introspective. 22, a lot more introspective, more people waking up. And one of the things I put on Telegram recently is like, I don't like the word truthers, but there are truthers out there going, I can't wait to say I told you so when the big event happens. And I'm like, no. That's not where we should be right now. We should, that shows zero spiritual advancement. Where we should be is like ready with our arms out to hug our brothers and sisters that got conned. Because that's, some of us didn't get conned. We're all at different levels, but it's not a competition. We're all in it together, and I know they stole that phrase for the whole, thing that they did, but we are all in it together, and we've got to be there for everybody when we get through this. And I think what we're witnessing with this funeral today is very much theatre. It's very much theatre, and it is full of code and comms. But you don't have to have gone down the rabbit hole to know that so much, Nikita. You just kind of know it intuitively, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of subjects around that they just make me feel very uneasy. No.
Somebody in the comments said it was Alistair McWilliams. Thank you for that. Yes, it was Alistair McWilliams. He's a great comic, and everybody should go and support Alistair because he stood up against all of this crap in the middle of it all. And anybody that does that gets I'm trying to find the comments here where it says it. Sorry, I can't find the comment to give you the credit for that. There's so many. So I'm just going to have to give up on that one. Oh, hello from Adelaide. I accidentally pressed that. Managing the comments whilst trying to talk at the same time is sometimes a little bit difficult.
I've been watching a lot of George Carlin recently.
He's great. He's on my website. Look, he's on my website. This is the cover of my website and YouTube channel. There's George.
Yeah.
And there's Bill Hicks.
Yeah, Bill Hicks. Yeah, Bill Hicks and George
comedians that ever lived.
Favorite.
Yeah.
They were very wise.
And who's that?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Who's that? Who's that? Baby skin. Oh, where?
George Carlin has got some amazing wisdom.
Yeah, go and watch his one on germs. It's brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, that comes into birth.
Exactly.
So many things come into birth.
So look, I started this show with We See You, and it's all about these bad guys and save the children. I mean, I'm driven by the fact that I know 22,000 kids every single day for the last 100 years at least have gone missing, right? And I know where they've gone, and I know what's happened to them. And the poem is full of code for anybody that wants to go down that rabbit hole, because every line has something in you can go and research if you don't understand what it means. But I don't want to talk overtly about that because it's very upsetting for a lot of people. But one of the reasons I wanted to get you guys on again is because we share a passion and a belief that one of the ways, in fact, probably the most important way we get the human race back on track is by going back to birth. And the way that birth is carried out, because at the moment it's all wrong, right? And Nikita, you've been on the show 3 or 4 times. Angela, it's the first time you've been on, but you guys you've started a new thing. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, Angela, why don't you tell Mark the story?
I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I was an NHS midwife for over 12 years. And pre-pandemic, I was already disillusioned with the over-medicalisation of childbirth and the ridiculous amount of intervention and not creating the right environment for women to be able to facilitate natural birth, and watching women feel disempowered and traumatised due to their birth experiences. And then the pandemic happened. And for me, I'm grateful for the fact that it gave me the shove in the right direction to let go of the medical model of midwifery and use my skills and knowledge to be able to support women in a more natural environment. So I created my own business, but I was scared at first, and I actually became I didn't know what to do with myself. I had all these qualifications, all this experience, and I still wanted to care for pregnant women. And I didn't realise that there was a way that I would be able to do that without being a midwife in this medical model. And that's when I saw your show, Mark, and you had Nikita on talking about being a birth worker. And all of a sudden it was like a light at the end of the tunnel. And I realised that I could utilise my skills and abilities, but just in a different way to what I'd been doing. So I made contact with Nikita, and she offered me a place on her midwife lifeboat course, which enabled me to change the way I was working and get rid of my PIN number, so I wasn't under the constraints of the NMC anymore, and gave me the confidence to start my own business and go it alone. And I'm sure, as Nikita's talked about on your show before, we're both very passionate about facilitating normal birth, changing the over-medicalisation of childbirth, empowering women in their birth journeys so that they feel that they come away from it with a sense of achievement rather than being traumatised. And so when we first met, we clicked, we got on really well, and we decided to combine our knowledge. And we can't run a maternity revolution by ourselves. Birth is happening all over the world. Women, families, children need people like us to be able to support them everywhere, not just within a mile radius of our homes or an hour's radius from our homes. So we needed to work out a way that how we could do this. So we've worked together and we've created Artemis Birth Attendant Academy, which is a year-long training program where we will be training people to do what we do. So it's a combination of all our knowledge, experience, natural physiological processes of birth, natural remedies, alternative to drugs. And we'll be not just teaching you ourselves, we've got lots of experts from different areas to really, really bring all that knowledge together to enable people to become traditional birth attendants. So then they can go out and help people in their communities, and hopefully that ripple effect will continue to spread and we can change the way childbirth is viewed in the future.
And for those of you who already know about my course, the When Push Comes to Shove course, Artemis is a much deeper look. So yes, I do my 4-day intensive course, and I tell you, the most popular candidate for that course seems to be grandmothers who their daughters are pregnant and they want to know about as much as they can in as short time as possible. So people have been coming to me for that. But what me and Angela are now offering is, like she said, our combined knowledge. So what you're going to learn in this 1-year course, you could spend years trying to accumulate all this knowledge and never find it in one place. You'll learn more in this year course than you would in a 3-year traditional university degree. It's got a combination of my holistic knowledge and my natural birth attending skills and Angela's incredible knowledge from years of experience in midwifery and teaching you all about, self-employment and stuff like that. It's wonderful. And like Angela said, it's going to help the structure of society. Look, so many of you watching, you don't realize birth affects you. Like, there's some people like, oh, well, I'm not into birth anymore. I've had my babies. It affects you. I can promise you that. Because we're all born. Now, those of you who wanted to go into your tribal communities, you want to start the new earth, you want to start going off grid, awesome. What if your neighbor, your granddaughter, your cousin goes into labor and you don't want to involve the system? What are you going to do? Do you know what to do? Do you know what normal birth looks like? Do you know when to call for help and when not to call for help? Someone just wrote, do you have to have given birth to do this? No. You can be, we're not the system. We don't want to see qualifications. We want to see that you are passionate about understanding normal birth and helping people in your community. So we can take lay people, previous midwives, maternity workers, healthcare professionals, and that's why I did the midwife lifeboat course. And a lot of midwives were up in arms about it, like, we already know about birth. I'm like, well, I'm not teaching Granny to suck eggs, birth physiology, but without sounding rude, if you go straight from the NHS out into being a birth keeper, you will fuck it up because you're so used to being hands-on. You're so used to, I've got to do this and that's dangerous. When no, you've just forgotten what natural birth is meant to look like. I'm just reading this comment here.
So with regards to the midwife lifeboat course, like, I was well aware of the physiology of birth, and even within the medical model, I always promoted natural birth where I could. It was a bit of a renegade midwife, should I say. I pushed the boundaries a little bit more than others would. But what I learned from it was how to be autonomous completely on my own and how to run my own business, which is something that, because I'd always had a salaried job and holiday pay and the sick pay and being told when to work and things like that, I needed support for that transition from becoming employed to being a business owner. And that's what Nikita helped me, and her course helped me to do. It was nothing about delivering babies. It was all about becoming empowered as being like the owner of my own business and being able to go out and share my knowledge and giving me the confidence to do that. Like she said, midwives don't need teaching about natural birth as such, but the Artemis course isn't for people that necessarily want to be midwives. We're not teaching midwifery because, as we all know, birth isn't a medical procedure, it's a natural process. So it's basically for anybody that's got an interest. And the idea would be to have a traditional birth attendant or expert in every community, like the good old days where the wise woman of the village would help and they would attend births, and doctors were never involved. And that's what we want to go back to. There is a place for medical intervention if it is required. We're not anti-medical intervention at all. At the end of the day, we want healthy mums and healthy babies. And we believe that by going more back to the natural way of doing things and having less intervention and not intervening where it's not appropriate, that we will have healthier mums and healthier babies. And it really does begin at that initial stages of a woman feeling empowered in her birth journey, the experience for the child itself being born, not bringing that trauma into their world and into their life. It absolutely has a massive impact on the whole family. So that's what we want to change, and we can't do it by ourselves. So we need to build our army, which is why we've designed this course to empower people to do what we do, and share that knowledge so that we can help more and more people feel empowered by their birth experiences rather than traumatized.
Yeah. And
there's a couple of things I want to butt in with. Firstly, for everybody watching that doesn't know, I'm going to show you what to do here. If you go onto my website, themarkatwoodshow.com, and you click on episodes, there's a search bar, and you can search for previous shows here, and you can type in birth. And for those of you that don't know that are watching this, why am I interested in this? Well, I became conscious of birth through having 5 children as a dad, obviously. And the my firstborn was an emergency cesarean. The second one was a VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean, which is very hard to do in the system. The third one was an all-natural water birth at home. And the twins were the first all-natural born twins with an orgasmic, pain-free birth in Britain in 40 years. Not the first orgasmic in 40 years, but the first all-natural birth of twins in 40 years. These videos are here. This is one with Nikita, New Birth for the New Earth. This is how we do it. These two with Janice Barcelo are also extremely well worth watching because Janice has been at this an extremely long time, and she explains in detail how the birthing procedure in the current medical system is actually a satanic ritual designed to detach you from your soul. So it's not just about 3D physical health, because these guys know exactly what they're doing. The attack that's been on the human race is against us emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally. And the spiritual side of it is the bit that I'm really interested in, because that's the food that we've provided for them in this farm that we call Earth, which I think is coming to an end. But so that's how you find previous videos with Nikita and other stuff that I've talked about with birth. And I'm very passionate about it. You can also find me from about 10 years ago talking about this as like a birthing warrior on YouTube. And I think men should get involved in this. You know, when I was going to be a dad, the kind of advice I got from people around me was, I'll just go down the pub or just light a cigar and, you know, have nothing to do with it. But I was there all the way through. And I was like, you know, men watching this, you've got to learn about all of this stuff as well. This is not just for the women. You let men do this course, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone that's interested in birth.
Yeah, because, you know, the man has a role to play, even if it's just protecting the woman while, you know, circling the perimeter. You don't have to be there, because often when a man's in the room, it freaks them out if they haven't got a really good understanding of what's going on.
Michelle O'Donnell says that asking a man to be in the birth room is just like asking a man to watch a professional game of football and then do it themselves. He said it's actually quite difficult for that to happen. I mean, men should have whatever role is comfortable for both of them. For both of them, absolutely. Yeah. But the point I'm trying to make is it's not just for women. All of us have to understand this stuff, because it's so, I mean, considering it's like the most important part of your life, the lack of understanding around it is massive, isn't it? Yeah, and this is why the system is able to do what they're able to do. Just think about it like this. So you go through school, no one teaches you anything about birth other than you come out of a vagina or you come out the sunroof, and that's about it. And then you are feared of birth, and it's not until you get pregnant. So women will research their wedding day or their holiday or the face cream they're fucking buying, but at no point do they start really looking into what's going to happen to my body, because they hand it over. I understand why that happens. I did it myself when I was 21, so I'm not judging anyone, but you hand it over to someone wearing scrubs. Oh, they must know better. But the problem is, if you don't understand birth, and if you're afraid of birth, this is how the system gets you. You will be able to acquiesce to everything they want you to do and not question anything. But if you know about birth, or even a little bit about birth, say your neighbor goes into labor, you're living on an off-grid society, do you know that you don't cut the cord? Do you know that? Or do you watch one born every minute and see them cut it straight away? Do you know that the baby will lose a third of their blood supply if you cut the cord straight away? Do you know about the millions of stem cells in that cord? That is going to completely screw up the baby's chances of a great start. Do you know that the baby's microbiome will be severely affected if there's no skin-to-skin contact, or if there's an unnecessary cesarean section? And breast milk. Do you know that if you are breastfeeding a sick baby, and say the baby's got a temperature, your nipple sends a message to your milk and says your baby needs to have a lower temperature or a higher temperature in milk. It's liquid gold. This is so important for people to know. You need to know that you don't tell a woman to push. You don't do coached pushing. All right, I'm sure all of you watching have been sick at some point in life, have been vomiting, right? Imagine if you are mid-retch and someone says, don't do that. Can you stop? No. You can tell a woman to pant, of course, but to all this coach pushing, push. They know to push. Unless they've got an epidural in their back and they can't feel, they know to push. They can feel it. It's not a mystery. But because you indoctrinated with all this crap from Hollywood and what you see on One Born Every Minute, it might be real. But I just cringe when I watch it. I'm like, what are you doing to these poor women? And there's no skin to skin contact, and
It's all on purpose. It's all propaganda.
Yeah,
All
I
of it.
think birth has always been like a taboo topic. Do you know, like you said, we don't talk about it in schools, it's not talked about. And so people's only experience of birth sometimes is what you see in the films or what you see on One Born Every Minute. And the delivery suite itself is quite a secretive place, and only certain people are allowed in. And we need to normalize birth. It's a normal thing. It's happened to us all, do you know, and we need to be educating from the grassroots, and it should be normalized, just like breastfeeding should be normalized. It shouldn't be a taboo topic. It's, you know, we should be able to talk about this freely like we talk about anything else. It's really, really important that we start changing people's attitudes. And like Nikita touched on earlier, people do little or no research about their birth experiences and hand the responsibility over to somebody else and then moan when they feel traumatized or it's gone wrong. Whereas we need to start taking responsibilities for ourselves, for our health, for our well-being. And it all starts at birth. You need to be educating yourselves as women and men that are making these babies as to what's going to go on, what the physiological process is, what's normal. And we want to support people to be able to do that. That's our mission, to try and completely change the perception of birth, and that make people realise that birth trauma, although it's common, it's not normal. Like I know yourself, Mark, have said you've experienced a natural orgasmic birth experience, and it's so much different to what you will have experienced the first time having an emergency cesarean. And I'm sure you're well aware of the differences in your partner, how they were, how they felt afterwards, after that experience. And it's literally from one extreme to the other, how you can come out of this the other side. And we really want women to feel empowered by their birth and take that control back. But they have to take responsibility for themselves as well. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're just here to guide and support you.
Well, it's all about, everything's about sovereignty. And this is part of health sovereignty, one of the most important parts of it, as far as I'm concerned. And you guys watching this, please like the video, share the video, go to artemisbirthattendantacademy.com and just tell as many people, especially if you know somebody who's pregnant or wants to get pregnant. I mean, you know, this lack of discussing birth is also how they got away with the mind control that was the agenda to get rid of, terminate unwanted babies, because they just don't talk about any of it. And it's just, so you got a load of totally ignorant kids with totally ignorant parents, literally just doing what they're told. So I think one of the great things about the last couple and a half years is that it has inspired people like you with your hearts and your, you know, your intuition to just go, right, fuck this, let's do something about it, because this is the only way forward. That's why I have Catherine McBean on the other week from the People's Health Alliance and people like that, because, you know, none of this is about us being perfect, but it is about us going, that doesn't work. This is us starting to try to do something about it. And it's people powered, right? So that's why we're using the internet. That's why I'm on YouTube. That's why, you know, and it's great to hear that you two got together because of a show on here. When that's the reason I do this show, is because I want to create connections like that, and I want to support people like you. And it's amazing. But you guys watching it, you're part of that as well. So share it out, get it on Facebook, get it on social media.
And because of the first show I did with you, Mark, as well, we've been able to offer dozens of people free care when push comes to shove. So it's all well and good me saying, you know, you don't have to go down the NHS route, or you can have someone to help you navigate it, but not everyone can afford $2,000. But because of the awareness that Mark helped me start with when push comes to shove, we've been able to provide people all over the country and a couple in the States for free.
Which is great, you know, because that's 5D business, right? That's why when I did my course, I charged for it. But if you didn't have money, you don't pay for it. And I don't check. It's all about us trusting each other.
Yeah.
And while we're in this transition period between one financial system and another system, one earth and the other earth, which is here now, by the way, and this is how we do it. We by God's been waiting for us to stand up and do stuff like this, which is why I support it happily. And do you know how good that makes me feel? Because that means that there are babies born onto this earth because of action that I took, you know, that came here naturally. And that is, and it, you know, a forest is built by planting one seed.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, Angela's had clients now on the back of meeting me through you, and it's all a lovely ripple effect. And People have had birth experiences that they otherwise would never have even had a chance to do. So much trauma has been avoided, which is wonderful.
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of the work I've been doing on this channel for two years now is about healing trauma, because we're all full of trauma, because the birth system creates trauma, the school system creates trauma, the media creates trauma, the economic system we live in creates trauma. It's trauma, right? So if we have more and more babies born without trauma, mothers without trauma, we have better relationships right from the beginning, and then all this healing can stop because we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope one day it actually does blow my mind just how little people generally know about birth. It's everyone is affected by it. Why do people not know? So, I mean, the idea, is there anything available? Yes, when push comes to shove. So yeah, someone just asked if there's anything available like this. So when push comes to shove is a global community, and you can train with Artemis Birth Attendant Academy because it's online, and we do 2 in-person gold standard training sessions a year. So yes, you can train with us via the US. It's all online, so it's no problem. We've trained, I think, about 12 people so far in the US and Canada. A couple of doctors actually in California we trained when push comes to shove. It was amazing. And then but the best message from a doctor the other week. So this lovely doctor did my remote course, and she did it because her sister was due to have a baby, and she said, "I'm a doctor. We haven't learned any of this. The stuff you've taught has just been mind-blowing." And she was able to attend her sister's the birth of her sister's baby last week, and she had the most amazing blissful birth. I was just totally over the moon. But that, again, that seems to be for people who, you know, grandmothers like this lady here. She wanted to help her daughter, right? And so they go there. This woman has since passed on, bless her.
Oh.
But she helped her daughter. So women come to me, they say, my daughter's due. I'm like, come and do my 4-day intensive course. And then we've got monthly seminars after that. But if you really mean business and you want to know what Angela and I know, and you need a year, to obtain this information. And that is what Artemis Birth Attendant Academy is for. So when push comes to shove, this is for parents who want to know about their bodies. You know, we do childbirth masterclass. But if you want to know the business and you really want to take ownership and go, right, I'm going to go out in the world and be a professional birth attendant, then come to us, because you are going to learn so much. I can't even describe what you're going to learn. It's just, there's heaps. Just go on the website and have a look at the content. We have, we've done it in trimesters, done 1 to 4 trimesters. So you'll it's like terms really, or semesters, what you want to call it. We've done 4, and you can see what the course entails. But you will love it. It's so good, and we've got payment plans. And again, you know, just come to us. If you're not comfortable with the money, tell us what you want to do, how we can help you. We don't want money to get in the way, so just send us an email, because everyone needs this information.
Yeah, and once you've done the course as well, we will give you, during the course, you're linked with other students on the course. You've got a massive support network. We teach you business skills. So once you've completed it, you can go away, run your own business. You'll become part of the When Push Comes to Shove directory. So any work that you get through the When Push Comes to Shove directory, which a majority of people that have trained through When Push Comes to Shove are actively working all the time and getting clients. So once you've started your business and you're getting your work in, we ask that you donate 10% of your fee. You can charge what you want. It's your business. You donate 10% of your fee to the Access Fund, which then makes our services available to everybody. So if people are on low incomes, whether they be in the UK or in the US, we can provide them with birth workers local to them. And then the birth workers' expenses will be paid through the Access Fund. So we don't want money. We don't want this to only be for people that are only on a certain income or anything like that. Birth is important for everybody, and we want to be able to make it available to everyone. And the course can be done anywhere in the world, really. We will support you. We do monthly live seminars where you can interact with us. You can get any help with any of the modules. We have other people teaching on the course as well. So you don't just have to listen to us chatting all the time. We've got lots of excellent guest speakers and people that are more expertise in certain areas, such as homeopathy and things like that. And we get the real experts in to come and teach you. And there's a variety of teaching methods, and you do it at your own pace. And then we run like in-person workshops twice a year. So you'll come to one of our workshops for 2 days, and we'll teach you hands-on skills. So you'll leave the course feeling ready to go in the birth world, feeling like you're capable of running your own business. You've got a constant support network around you. You'll join our family of support workers and like birth workers. So you will constantly have that support wherever you are. And we've got such an amazing tribe already. We just need to extend it so that we can help more and more women and families across the world.
I've just read a comment that someone was born with cerebral palsy and about the cord around the neck. And I just wanted to add to that. Look, a nuchal cord, which is where the cord is around your neck, is pretty normal, 1 in 3. Now, the chances are cerebral palsy would be caused because of what they did to you. So I'm assuming you were a forceps delivery, or that's usually how it's caused. Or
yeah. Cerebral palsy it's usually caused from a lack of oxygen getting to the baby's brain at birth, or whatever delay there was in the process. And it will depend on a massive variety of things. If you had an epidural and you were on your back, if your birth wasn't facilitated properly, but very rarely is it due to a nuchal cord or cord being around the neck or around the baby. That's a very, very common misconception, but it is an absolutely normal part of natural birth physiology. And these are all the kind of things that we will be teaching you on our course, so that you have that awareness and you go into the situations feeling calm and in control. So you're a calm presence in that birth environment and helping the person giving birth being able to feel safe and loved and supported.
Well, there you go. Here's a freebie then while you guys are watching, and just to give you an example of the sort of thing we will teach. So, okay, we just mentioned the cord around the neck. So 1 in 3 babies are born with a nuchal cord, which means their cord is wrapped around their neck. Now, babies don't breathe through their lungs while they're in utero. They breathe through the umbilical cord from the oxygenated blood coming to the placenta from the mother. Now, the nuchal cord is covered in something called Wharton's jelly. And it means if you squash it, it doesn't really do any damages to the lifeline inside it. Now, if the cord is wrapped so tight that it's cutting blood supply from the head to the rest of the body, yes, that can be an issue, but it seldom is. So if a baby's born and the head comes out and you can see a cord, you can just unravel it. If it's very, very, very tight, that might be an issue, or it's like 3-4 times wrapped, but it's rare it does cause an issue. So there you go. There's a little lesson in cords. But if you will come to us, and we've got more of this. There's heaps of information that we can teach you.
Yeah, there is so much to learn. I mean, it was a real eye opener for me. I didn't realize how much I didn't know until my wife went through this experience of the emergency cesarean, because I literally gave all the trust to the hospital, and they changed the midwife halfway through. And then I spoke to them. The midwives are good people, right? They all go into it for the right reasons, but they're all kind of quietly unhappy with the system, but they can't see a way outside of the system. And I only learned that because I met some natural midwives who told me, and I was fortunate enough to be able to afford them. I think it was like 3,000 quid or more to have a private midwife all the way through the term of my twins' birth, for example. And I am aware of the fact that not everybody can afford that, but I didn't see it as a cost. I saw it as like an essential thing to do, and I was forced to do it because there was no other choice. If I wanted my kids to start life as healthy as possible, which they have, because they're completely free of any of these. They had a natural birth. They've had all the oxytocin. They had all the good stuff from the birth canal. They've had all of it, and they're never ill, which is the other thing.
It depends what priorities are as well. I mean, like, people spend $4,000 on a dog these days. Why wouldn't you invest in your birth? That's a child that you're bringing into the world, and why wouldn't you want them to have the best and healthiest start to life? And it depends what your priorities are.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
On the NHS doesn't mean it's the best, does
it?
I'll
tell you why. Because if there was an NDS, a National Dog Service, then people would be kicking off about $4,000 for a dog. But and I thought about this recently, because the NHS was started in 1946 by Ernst Bevin, right? And back at the same time, there was Lord Robbins talking about education is a right and should be free for all. And Bevin was talking about health should be a right. And everybody bought into this communism, which is basically what it was. I bought into it in my 20s. I wrote poems about education being a right and should be free for all when I was a socialist student. And I look back on it now and I cringe because I was completely hoodwinked because a communistic one size fits all free thing for everybody sounds good unless you know who's behind it. And when you know who's behind it, you would never agree to any of it. You'd never agree to the NHS. You'd never agree to any of it. And that's why this is the time to stand up. And this is why I did my course last year, you know, giving people the strength to stand up, find their passion, turn it into something monetizable, and then get their voice out there, because there are millions and millions and millions, billions of us, right, out there who have incredible knowledge, and we've just got to get it out. And you guys are doing that, which is why you're on the show today, which is brilliant. But you guys watching, go and watch my Monetize free webinar in the links below this video if you haven't done it already, and go and do my course. If nothing else, it will give you insights into how valuable your life experiences already are, and hopefully give you the confidence and the tools with which to go and get something out there, because you can change. This is how we change the world. What
it helped
Angela
me, Mark. It really helped me.
what Nikita and Angela are doing here is changing the world. Because the other thing is, it's not about whether it becomes a multi-million-pound business within a year. It's about the fact that by doing this, we're shifting the consciousness. Every one of us watching this, you two on here, we all have the power to affect the consciousness of thousands, tens of thousands of people by the way that we act in this world, which is why I believe we were given this opportunity in all this period to make decisions to show who we really are, and then decide if we're going to stand up or buckle. And I think that's where we're at. And you guys are standing up, and I applaud you for that. But you guys watching, it's your responsibility as active participants in the stuff that I talk about on this channel to go out and get the word out, even if it doesn't interest you personally, you know, because this literally affects all of us, and it's the future. You know, when I started this, I said to myself, there's no way I'm going to let my kids live in the new world order. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So I've got to do something, you know. When I was a 51-year-old man who knew a bit about the internet and can talk. So I started a channel. That's what I did. We're all doing our own little things. We're all doing our bit. So yeah, I think it's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you. We're actually talking at the South Wales Wellness Show next month in Cardiff.
Well, you know, you made me very happy when you sent me a message a few months ago saying you've just been on stage with Robert Kennedy. And,
Del Big Tree. Yes, that's the Best Away conference. I got to. Oh my God, I was talking with Del Big Tree and Magic Noirs and Dr. Robert Malone. It was amazing meeting all these people, and for the first time in my life, this was like a real lifting moment for me. So I'm used to being told by doctors I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a hippie or whatever. But I got a standing ovation from a room full of about 300-400 doctors, and I was like, oh my God, it was absolutely incredible. And the magic at this conference was palpable. It was wonderful, and I all these people were talking to me saying, oh, I want to do your course, blah, blah, blah. It was amazing. And I just felt so blessed that I could share my knowledge so other people could pass it on and understand that you don't have to go to hospital, and it's a physiological process. It's not a medical process, and the trauma is common. It's not normal. And people like, wow, they're actually asking questions and start to see things from a different point of view. And it's
Peter, this is the power of standing up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is what happens. This is what I keep trying to tell people. Stand up. I mean, I'm going to America in less than 40 hours, and I'm touring 17 cities.
Yeah.
Right? What?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's amazing.
It's nuts. Amazing. It's nuts. And, you know, part of me, there's a little part of me that wants to just stay at home and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be away from my kids. But this is like history in the making. You know, this great awakening is happening. It's happening all around us. People still don't, there's a lot of people still asleep, obviously. And there's a lot of people that are still on the fence about whether it's going, which way it's going. But I know which way it's going. And I just want to be out there and meet the people, because I've got so many viewers on here from all over the world. You know, I'm not going to meet them here in Ireland, am I? So I've got to go to them. And the people that I'm going to meet are just going to, you know, it's just amazing. I mean, and we've never met physically, but we will. And I've met tons of people this year that I've interviewed on the show, or I've been on their show, or they're in the audience. And it's that kind of empowerment when you get in a room and you get, suddenly you're in a room and, like the other day, I got a death threat in one of the comments on YouTube the other day. I got called an egomaniac. I've had people that I know say that I'm taken over by dark entities. I've had physical attacks. I've had somebody cut the fuel line on my car. I've had demonic attacks. I've had all my bank accounts and things frozen or closed down, PayPal closed down, my phone hacked. I mean, the last 2 years has not been, I wouldn't say it was the easiest thing in the world, but at the same time, then I can go in a room full of 600 people in Birmingham and they're all on the same page, and you're not an idiot to them. You've saved their life or you've helped them in some way. And that's what I think.
Mark, I'm glad you shared that, because there are a lot of people who want to do what we're doing, but they're afraid to because of stuff like that. And you're right, it's not easy, but does it mean to say it's not worth doing? I've been attacked on so many levels, especially in the last few months. It's been horrific. But you know what? When you walk into a dark room, you don't kick and punch the dark, do you? You turn on a light. You
are the
keep
light.
shining. And it's hard to do, because I mean, I've had it. I had an email from someone saying, "Oh, you're a dangerous company. You're scaring women." I thought, oh my God, I'm not even telling anyone what to do. I'm just giving you information so you can make an informed decision. Do with it what you will. And I've had all sorts of horrible things happen to me that never should have happened. Like you said, with the money thing, I've had problems with, I won't name the company because I'm in a bit of a battle with them. And I've had to move, like literally in a week. We had to flee out our place because we had domestic violence next door. All these crazy things have happened. And it kind of sometimes gets you like, oh, can't be arsed with this. But then you go, no, because sometimes these things show you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right. And anyone who's watching who in whatever sector of their life they want to they know about and they want to talk about, be it education or whatever it is, do it. And don't try and be someone else. Be you, and just be the authentic you.
100%.
And that will help you come into your true self. And just remember who you are, and don't let fear get in the way, because fear is what's got us here in the first place, right?
100%.
Yeah, standing up for what you believe in is massive. And I'm so glad I took that leap of faith to get out of the system and do it. And honestly, it was a big decision for me to leave that security of a salary. And, I've still got kids to feed and I've still got a mortgage to pay. I've never been happier knowing that I'm doing something that speaks to my soul. I'm not coming home feeling worried and stressed that I haven't done enough, or, frustrated because of the constraints of the system that I was working in. Now I'm literally supporting women and families to feel amazing in their birth experiences. And you can't put a price on that. Do you know what I mean? As long as I can put a roof over my head and feed my kids, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in it because I want to make a change, and I want to make changes, and something needs to happen. And I'm grateful for everything that's happened in the last couple of years. It's been hard for everybody, but I always try and see the positive in things. And for me, it's really given me the confidence that I'm good at what I do, and I want to go out and spread the word and empower more and more people to come and join us and help make these changes. And I hope that by me getting out of the system and leading by example, that other people will follow suit, and they'll think, look, she's still, able to go on holiday, able to feed her kids, and she left the system. So I know there's lots of midwives out there, like you touched on before, that are frustrated. They really do care about the women and families that they look after, but they feel stuck in this system because they want to be able to feed their children and put a roof over their heads, and they're scared to take that leap. So I'm hoping that I can be an inspiration to some of those frustrated midwives, that you can still be the birth worker that you want to be, and you can still care for people in the way that you want. You just need to sort of change your stance on doing it. But it's more than possible. And we need people like that.
You have to. Angela's done it perfectly. She's changed her vibrations. She let go of the fear. Look, I'm still learning now. Mark's taught me a lot when it comes to the money sort of thing. At the moment, I'm still, ebb and flow. But I'm doing a million times better than I was like 3 years ago. And this is what we teach as much as we can on our course. Mark, maybe you can come and speak on it to do the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can teach them how to market themselves locally or whatever.
that would be amazing. We'd love to get you on the course for that bit, because I've been
I'll do
teaching
that.
as much as I can, because I'm really into the money as love model and, you know, raising your vibrations. That doesn't mean to say I've been consistently, you know, pissing money or anything like that, but I do get divinely compensated. And it seems to have been when I've changed my focus from trying to earn money to make ends meet, from waking up and going, how can I serve the world?
Yeah, because that's poverty consciousness. When you're thinking about how do I make ends meet, I can't afford it, then you just have no, you don't get any money. I don't think about money. It literally, you know, I just create it, and and I try to teach people it's actually easy to do that. But when there's so many blockages there, it's really tough. I think one of the biggest issues we have in the system that we've all been dragged up in is this consistent brainwashing from childhood about the need to have a stamped piece of paper from some authority. Okay, this is what I've been trying to teach people to get over. It's like, I know a lot of people who have written books and they've gone to publishing houses because they want that status symbol of going to a publishing house, but a publishing house will then will edit it to death and turn it into something else, because most publishing houses are owned by the cabal, right? So they part of their brainwashing is owning the publishing houses, owning the media, owning the schools, owning the governments, owning they own everything, right? George Carlin, they've already got everybody in their pockets, right? You know, George Carlin pointed this out 30 years ago. You don't need a seal of approval or a stamp from a school or a university. They're all full of shit anyway, right? Get your kids out of school or tell them just ignore everything they're being taught, because it's all bollocks, right? And that the stress, you know, there were kids committing suicide over not getting grades. I mean, my friend committed suicide at university because he wasn't going to get the grade he wanted at university. And it's like, I still think back on that and what a bloody waste of a life, because of this stress that this system causes us. You don't need that. You just need to get out in the world, be authentic, get seen, get heard, and learn as you go, you know, because that's how we all do it. I mean, you guys have put this together how long has it taken you to put this together?
Oh, we did it, the website and everything, 2 weeks.
Wow.
A couple of weeks, yeah. I mean, years of combined knowledge, but actually putting it into a platform that we can share with other people, a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks, yeah. And the course doesn't start till September 8th, 2023, which is my birthday.
Oh, it doesn't start for a year?
No. Oh, no.
Why not?
When you enroll now, you get the pre-course reading material and stuff to watch, and you've got to do a bit of pre-course study, 100%. So that's already there, but it doesn't start until September 2023.
Why have you left it so long?
So we're still working on all the recordings and recording all the modules and things like that. So it's all written. We're just working our way through doing all the modules and stuff. We want it recorded so that people can access it in their own time when they want to.
Let me just give you a bit of advice. I produced a 30-hour course last year that's all recorded, and anybody can go and buy it anytime. But I did it live first. So I just did it with a live audience, recorded, and then they became the modules.
Yeah, I did that with the Midwife Lifeboat course. But we don't want to give too much away. We have a plan. We do have a plan.
All right. Yeah. Don't listen to Mark.
Of course we listen to Mark. I always listen to Mark. You know, you've helped me do so many amazing things. So, of course, I listen to you.
Well, you know, I'd just say that a year is quite a long time away, and I'd be getting it out the door quicker than that if I were you. But that's my opinion. You have a different plan. That's fine. But you guys watching, go to whenpushgoes-to-shove.co.uk. What's the other one?
Artemis Birth Attendant Academy. Well, but when push comes to shove, those courses they're all ready. That you can go and do them at any point. But the real intensive knowledge course, that is the Artemis Birth Attendant Academy.com. I've got something
I just remembered. When I saw the name of it, I went, oh, because the word Artemis has popped up a couple of times for me in the last 2 years. I did a past life regression when I was a blue alien, for want of a better term, on another planet. My name was Artemis. And then if you go and look at Eleanor Danette, and if you go and look at Ella Danan's channel, she talks about the Artemis Accords that are going on up there in the secret space program. And this word Artemis is popping up in consciousness.
Yeah, I noticed about the space program Artemis. That was a bit weird. But
so why did you
this? Because Artemis was the goddess of the hunt and birth.
Ah.
Yeah, she was a protector of things and an advocate for birth. So we felt that it resonated well with both of us.
Yeah.
The links to Artemis and the way that she hunts and protects. And that's kind of what we're bringing.
It's a great name.
Really.
Great name.
Thank you.
Good. Anything else you want to tell us before we go? Because my voice is still a bit.
Well, okay, fine. One more thing. If you don't know it already, go and listen to my beautiful song to spread awareness of this movement. Just go on YouTube and look up Nikita Breathe Again, because it takes you to everything that we've just been discussing. And it's an awesome song. And I want to spread awareness of the song. So Nikita Breathe Again.
Yeah, I should have. I'm just going to find it. 56,000 views so far.
That's not bad.
It should be millions.
It should be, but it's not.
Well, you know, I think maybe a lot of.
I'm clearly not on the right level. Oh, hello, Kat.
Making a guest appearance.
Yeah, that is a great video. Go and watch it, guys.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Thanks for having us, Mark. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, and well done on everything you're doing. Keep it up. Hopefully my voice will be better when I get back from the States, and we'll do more shows and see how it's going.
Yeah, hope it goes well in the States. If you find anyone over there that wants to learn about birth, send them in our direction. We'll be more than happy to help them.
Well, I'll see if I can get, no promises, but I'll see if I can get you on a Zoom live on one of the tour dates, maybe.
Oh, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you.
The more we can spread the word, the better. And like I say, if it wasn't for your show in the first place, me and Nikita would never have met and we wouldn't have created this. So it's just spreading that ripple effect even further, which is amazing. So thank you very much for having us.
That's my pleasure. It's nice to meet you, Angela. Great to see you, Nikita. You guys watching, thumbs up, share. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Lots of love. Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch, the wicked witch.
God.
Sorry, she died years ago. We're just watching a movie. Anyway, see you later, guys.
See you later.
Bye.